If you have intensive wax buildup in your ears, that's because you have not had enough audio Hoo-Mons, the preeminent Deep Space Nine podcast with our host
Brian
and me, Alex, and welcome back. Audio Hoo-Mons, as you probably already know, is two dudes. One who watched the show religiously and has watched it religiously over and over and over because he bought the DVDs. Although they might have been a Chinese bootleg, who cares? And then there you have a buddy who kind of caught it where he could, but he was deployed in the military and couldn't see it all.
I was in Germany watching Raumschiff Enterprise and
Rimshot Enterprise.
Sieben at the theater.
What was Sieben? What was that?
7. It was but it was like all over. I should have grabbed one of those movie posters while I was there because it was
Sieben.
It was everywhere. But,
well, Sieben, is pretty creepy nowadays because Kevin Spacey, though he got off the hook recently, is still pretty creepy.
Yes. Yeah.
Sieben.
Yeah, and then
could you say Sieben?
For some reason, like Hasselhoff, of course, was everywhere at that time.
You mean the Hoff?
And the crash test dummies. And maybe they were just doing a European tour, but they were on. It was like they were constantly on TV. If I was watching Sky or something, they were all over there.
Well, do the thing. Say Sieben for me, like you.
Sieben.
Yeah, he would always like get all of you. Do it one more time, you guys. Yeah, thank you. And then
Sieben.
Yeah. So and then Crash Test Dummies, we would both together. We get on the phone. Yeah. It's like even me who can't carry a tune can sing that song. Remember that song?
Go.
It's
yes.
Yeah. So, welcome back, and we are so glad that you're joining us. And we took a little break last time with the Red Alert, but this week we're going to talk about The Wire.
The Wire,
and we're not talking about the incredible HBO series, but we're going to talk about a very damn good episode of DS9, written by Robert Hewitt Wolf, who's frankly just about my favorite DS9 writer. He was also a story editor and a producer for a time. So, a couple of housekeeping things. Thank you if you voted for us for the People's Choice Podcast Awards. As of this publication, as of this episode, we don't know yet. We'll find out around August 10th. They'll announce the slate of the 10 finalists. If we made it, oh my God, you'll hear nothing about
We'll do
it.
A Red Alert, I think,
you'll hear
and
all
then
about
we'll certainly post it on our on social.
If we did make it, you'll just hear about it on the next episode. We'll just be like, hey, thanks so much. Because we know people, hey, Jordan and Finney. Oh, God, I did it again.
Finney.
And others, Chris, I'm sure you did. Plenty of you voted for us, and we appreciate it. We just didn't make the cut. But if we did make the cut, you'll hear about it on Red Alert. But there's that, and we have all sorts of stuff. But here's the thing. We are going to do a drawing shortly for a new Trek item, and we'll ship it out to a listener. So we have that. So that's one thing. So I'm going to a couple more personal things, then we'll get right to the episode of The Wire, which is tremendous. Hey,
yes,
Brain, how was your vacation?
It was great. We went to northern Wisconsin, so I was within a couple of miles of the UP, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, in far northern Wisconsin. Had a little VRBO on a small lake, and it was in the Nicollet National Wildlife Preserve. So great, very relaxing. Close to do a few family things, but as exciting as anything was to see a really, really dark night sky. And it was a new moon, so it was just stunning. Coming from Chicago, where the light pollution is terrible, going to something like that was amazing. And it was the beginning of the Perseids this year, so I was able to see a couple of shooting stars there around midnight, a little after midnight. And then just as a reminder to those of you who are into such things, the Perseids will peak next week, early next week, the overnight between the 12th and the 13th. It is a full moon, so the moon will drown out some of the meteors, but But you'll get to see some nice streakers usually on the Perseid meteor shower there in August if the weather permits. So anyway, that was it. It was a great time with the family. Did the paddle boating, went rafting.
What happened there? What happened there?
Well, we did take one wrong turn, and and I ended up having to kind of pull the raft through some very rocky areas. We got some bumps and bruises and scratches, and
what else happened?
And I lost my wedding ring. It was
hold up that hand there. Let me see it.
Yeah, there it is. So.
Are you serious?
So yeah,
you lost.
Yeah.
How does one lose their wedding
my
ring?
Precious. There was just the small creature came, grabbed it, and disappeared.
So are you still married?
I am. Apparently, the laws of the state of Illinois.
I don't care about the state of Illinois. Your wife is who I'm talking
about. The ring is not a prerequisite. It is. It's ceremonial only. So yes, I am still.
Have you lost weight recently or something?
I may have. It's also one of those comfort fit bands that it was rounded on the inside, so it can come off, relatively easily. But obviously, and the water was a bit, was chilly, and so I'm sure.
You had some shrinkage?
My hand probably experienced some shrinkage, and I was there was quite a bit of physical activity there as I was trying to pull the raft.
Were you alone or something? Was there not a guide?
Correct. Yeah. It was a class 2. It wasn't anything it wasn't anything dangerous, but we just made a wrong turn at the end and went through an area we shouldn't have, and so I ended up having to kind of pull the raft through.
Did you see the Bigfoots or anything?
I did visit a Bigfoot themed place, but I didn't see any big feet.
Did you get me a present?
You
didn't. How dare you?
I didn't get myself a present.
Dude,
it was just peace and quiet.
One of the many different shows we intend to do is a Bigfoot show.
Yes.
If I come and visit, can we go there and can we go look for Bigfoot there?
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, is Bigfoot around there at all or no?
I think there were maybe some sightings, but there's also a lot of black bear around. So, an upright walking black bear at night could probably be mistaken for a Bigfoot.
What about the Finger Lakes region? Did you go up there?
I think that's in the northeastern U.S.
My wife keeps telling me that. She's like, I've been there. That's not where he is. Shut up. I just like saying the Finger Lakes.
The Finger Lakes.
I think it's from the Jim Carrey episode of The Office.
And that's from Groundhog Day.
No, The Office. He did the episode of The Office. He was interviewing to replace Michael Scott. He goes, I live in the Finger Lakes region or something. Well, I'm glad you had fun. Did you relax, though, as Mike?
I did.
You have a hard time relaxing.
Generally, I do, yes. But it was nice, yeah.
Did you do any maxing as well as relaxing?
Yes.
I don't even know what that is.
I had some scotch. We had, made s'mores on a fire pit. I, took a paddle boat out on the water.
By yourself?
No, with the kids.
So did your girls enjoy the trip, or were they?
They did. I mean, all of us. It took some time to disconnect from devices and engage with each other.
Yeah, because you sent me some videos.
We were pretty successful.
Everybody, it's funny because here's the thing: your daughter was looking at her device, and you were on your device sending me a video. So I thought, well, you're not a good role model. You're sending me a video.
We did. I mean, we did some of it. I mean, we didn't completely disconnect. We had Wi-Fi in the house we rented, but most of the time, most of the days, we spent enjoying the outdoors, the great outdoors.
Let's put this back into the Trek ball field here. So, would you recommend such a trip to our fellow trekkers?
Absolutely. Yes. For me, just sitting out at night and watching the stars in a really, really dark place is awe-inspiring for me.
When you say from a really, really dark place, that just sounds like you were drinking scotch and had a loaded gun beside you.
No, there was just so little light pollution.
Oh,
that I could literally there are a number of those places throughout the country, so our listeners I would assume are able to find those. From this location, I could literally see the belt of the Milky Way galaxy, where it was you could see that next level of stars and galaxies.
Was it cinched up, that belt?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
and it was beautiful. It's beautiful, and you just start seeing the vastness of space and the universe. So,
well, one of my favorite quotes is, "Lord, the sea is so vast and my boat is so small." And there's nothing like. That's why I like to go kayaking in the middle of nowhere. I do that, and I missed the trip this summer because of my jaw surgery. So I'm hoping to go back in early fall and see that. But what we need to talk about is The Wire.
The Wire, yeah, it's a great episode.
If it's okay with you, I can give kind of a capsule.
Please, that'd be great.
And then we can talk about it. Here's the teaser. Bashir tries to help when Garak suffers painful headaches from a lack of sex. No, from a implant in his brain. And that is basically The Wire. So, Brian, why don't you take it from there?
Two of them are dining together, and Garak is very irritable, and
he is, isn't he?
They're really tired of the food, tired of the company, annoyed that Bashir doesn't get Cardassian. Great Cardassian epic literature.
What is it called? The never-ending sacrifice?
Yes, yeah. So
I love that title.
Seven generations of Cardassians, sacrificing themselves for the state. It's really about them, about Garak, and he's just so irritated because he seems to be in this excruciating pain, and Bashir is wanting to assist him however he can as a doctor, and Garak is refusing his help. It gets to the point where the pain is so excruciating that he literally passes out, and so now Bashir is trying to help and save him. It discovers that there's this implanted device in Garak's head, and so he's trying to figure out how to save what it is and how to save him from it. And it turns out that it's this a device placed by the Obsidian Order, which we learn is this kind of secret Cardassian society. It's
kind of like the Mary Kay organization.
Yes, exactly. And this device was designed to inhibit the pain receptors, so that if there were any interrogation, that any methods that an enemy would use to try and extract information would cause no pain. Unfortunately, Garak was so just in such pain and trauma, both psychological and physical, being exiled to Terok Nor. He basically turned the thing on and became addicted to it. So so many parallels between the opioid epidemic that we face today.
That wasn't happening necessarily then.
No, but is now, and very similar there, where it's you start taking it, and he basically turned it on and left it on, and it got to the point where it was malfunctioning, and because it was not designed for
continuous
long-term use. Yeah, it was just designed as a short-term.
Such a brilliant concept by Wolfie here. When you hear The Wire, you think of the HBO. Is that HBO show that was so brilliant that I've never seen, that I hear is incredible? It's on my list to watch, and I will probably watch next this coming up winter when things are slow, but the wire is more actually a wire in his brain.
Right.
Yeah, it's so well done, and I love some lines here about the never-ending sacrifice. It's the repetitive epic, which I'm thinking, well, shit, that's it's like the Big Bang Theory. That's a repetitive epic. Really? How long can they milk one joke? Apparently 8 or 9 seasons. But anyway.
Right.
But Wolf is great with that. And I'll just run through a few of the things that I love about the episode besides just that alone. And Andy Robinson's acting. I would say he pretty well dominates the screen when he's on it. And,
absolutely.
And nothing against Alex Sadiq, but he's kind of outclassed by Andy on these. Generally, he always is, almost generally. There's one episode we'll get to where actually I think he gets the upper hand on Andy with Garak. But anyway, I'll go to what I love. Bohica, the Cardassian that Quark is talking to.
Yes.
Was he not the best Cardassian ever?
It was like, oh shit, what did you give me?
Right, but let's step. Excuse me.
So that was the deep shit 9 of the episode.
Right, exactly. But did you step back and just look at that performance? So how rich he was? He was like a real being. He wasn't like, okay, go back to the original series and look at some of the Klingons, and they were on a view screen, and they're like, oh, we are like robots, even though we're aliens. It's like the actors had no directing. This guy is a fully fleshed out creature. And I love it. He's like, she would have bankrupted me, blah, blah, blah. And he was just great. That same actor, he played a guy in the original Lethal Weapon. And I'm not saying he's the greatest actor ever lived, and he's sadly not with us anymore. I don't remember his name at this point. But Bohica is a fully fleshed out guy. And how did you do that in like 2.5 minutes of screen time, and you're not even interacting in the same moment? You're on a screen talking to another actor. So he's basically sitting on a set with a camera in front of his face talking to a script person who's reading Armin Shimmerman's lines, and he's still brilliant. And still good.
That was a great interaction. Lots of fun. Well, and it really, you think of this occupation and the Cardassians on Terrak Nor, before it was named Deep Space Nine, and there was a whole universe that was occurring. It wasn't all just Cardassians killing Bajorans. There were people on the space station. They had lives, and they had careers, and they had kids, and they went and saw Quark, and they spent time on the holodeck and flirted with Dabo girls, and so now they're reconnected for a potential business venture. But did
Bohica not take you a moment and just did you sit there and kind of appreciate him, or did you just like, oh, okay, whatever?
I think I probably rushed by it a little quicker, but now that you bring it to my attention, it did make sense. He's good. It was comfortable, the conversation.
Well, I think this show did a great job, though. The point I'm getting at, besides the fact that this actor, and I'm sorry, I'm not going to go look up his name, but maybe it'll be in the show notes, maybe it won't. But he did a great job. He's dead now, I know that. I did look him up a few months ago. But the point being is that he fully inhabited the character, and he was like a whole 2 minutes of the show. But he was pivotal. He's important. And that's what I'm trying to get at, is that Wolf and Ira Stephen Bear, they insisted on writing villains who were
Jimmy Skaggs.
Thank you, Jimmy Skaggs. They insisted on writing characters who were fully fleshed out, and that's a huge thing. So if you don't know who Jimmy Skaggs is, here's the deal. If you're a Lethal Weapon fan, and by the way, I started watching that movie again when it comes on after about a 5-year boycott because Mel Gibson is a piece of shit as a human being, and I decided, you know what, I'm not going to punish Martin Riggs for Mel Gibson being a piece of shit. So I started. We do this thing. We've done it for a year since college. We do the old the guitar and the saxophone from Lethal Weapon together. So that's what. I can't even do it right now. I can't do. Can you do it? You have better vocal talent than me. Give it to us. Here, I'll shut up. Do it. And it's all like Right.
That was all the near suicide scenes.
Right.
With
every time Riggs was gonna like eat a bullet because his wife Victoria Lynn was dead, and then you had Murtaugh going, "I'm too old for this shit." Which is funny because when he filmed this, I think that Danny Glover was about 40, 41. And Probably. He looked damn good, but they put some gray in his hair. So by the time it was done with the series, he was our age, which I'm not even going to say because whatever.
He was a loose cannon cop on the hunt for justice. A ticking time bomb just waiting to go off. He was a cop ready to retire until he met his new partner. Now, the unlikely cop duo that America fell in love with is back this summer in the blockbuster re-release of Lethal Weapon. The picture hasn't been changed, and it's certainly not in 3D. Mel Gibson. Danny Glover. Lethal Weapon sax. 100% the same action. 10,000 times more saxophone. We know everyone's favorite part of Lethal Weapon is all the crazy sax in the soundtrack. Don't worry, we left in those couple of key lines that you want to hear, like, I'm too old for this. Other than that, we scrapped all the dialogue so that we can get you a lot more smooth sax. So get ready to take a ride down the saxophone highway. Hit the sax as we sax it to you. Did we mention there's way more sax? Lethal Weapon sax. See it the way it was meant to be seen, with more sax.
But you know what? We could still kick ass, even though right now my neck is killing me. Okay, so Bohica was great. I love that. And there's the whole thing where eventually we get to where Bashir is going to help Garak kick.
Right.
And I am not aggrandizing by any means, but I helped a friend kick once. She was hooked on opioids through virtually no fault of her own. And she stayed at my place back in the day for 4 days. And all this stuff, the only thing they didn't show on this episode that was part of that was the vomiting, the diarrhea. But the other parts that are true, which is this kind of the psychosis where the person who's trying to kick goes out of their mind and tries to kill you and is yelling, or is pitiful at times, or just sleeps for hours on end. That's all real. Didn't see her again. I helped her kick, and we lost touch. We stopped dating, obviously, and then didn't see her again. And then 15 years later, I get a message on Facebook, and she's like, "Are you so and so?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course I'm so and so." And she goes, "Well, do you remember me?" And I'm like, "Of course I remember you. Oh my God, how are you?" And she goes, "Well, listen, all I want to tell you is, you were very helpful in a really tough time in my life, and now I'm an EMT, and I want you to know I've saved 3 people's lives so far, and if it weren't for you, those people would be dead as well as me." I'm not trying to aggrandize myself. All I did was just give her a safe space to crash and try to get reset. But it's one of the greatest moments of my life when she did that.
That's awesome.
Thanks. That's awesome. And again, I don't say it like pat me on the back or anything like that. It's just my point being, there are things, drugs, and that's what this is about to a large degree, although this was way before the opioid epidemic. But
right.
There are things that will change somebody's body chemistry and their mental faculties, and you know, sometimes people are really quick to throw people who get hooked on substances out with the bathwater.
Right.
You don't have to do that. But anyway, I hope wherever you are, my dear, I haven't heard from her since. It's been a few years. I hope wherever you are, I hope you're still saving lives, and I hope you're well. And so when I watch this episode, I have a lot of the feels.
Right. Yeah, and I think that, you know, we talked briefly before we started recording about about the some of that pacing, some of the directorial tools used to try and
like the kind of
demonstrate
the passage of time,
the passage of time, and how much some of it's maybe a little cheesy,
a little,
but it's just that expression of Bashir's dedication to beyond just being a doctor. But I think there was some dedication as a friend to Garak, and there's despite Garak's protestations and basically saying he hates him and hates Deep Space Nine. He hates all the people there. He hates the dinners.
Well, yeah, that's how happened to my friend. She hated my guts midway through. It was awful.
Right.
Well, it's like David Livingston, story editor and writer on the show, said. It's a bottle show. It's basically Andy Robinson in a room, but it's very compelling because it's one man intervening. Mm-hmm. And that's really what happens, because in the midst of trying to kick, you hate everybody and everything, and you don't want to be touched. It's like, you remember the scene where he says, "Don't touch me."
Yeah,
that's real. That's totally real.
Yeah.
So I would say, Wolf's original idea for this one was to have Kira addicted to battle stims every